In Venezuela, citizens go to the polls this Sunday to elect over 50,000 justices of peace in communal districts throughout the country. In El Salvador, homage was paid to the victims of the El Mozote massacre perpetrated by the army in 1981, where almost 1,000 people were killed. And in Gaza, injured people and dead bodies are being transported to the Baptist hospital after overnight Israeli strikes targeted the Abu Iskandar area. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We'll begin with the news. On Sunday in Venezuela, for the first time, elections are being held to choose justices of peace in communal districts throughout the country. The Venezuelan National Electoral Council said that 100% of over 4,000 voting centers set up in the country opened early this morning. People also 15 years of age may vote for up to 3 candidates. Communal peace judges will be mediators in matters such as family conflicts, neighborhood conflicts, or situations of a lesser degree. And their duties include to foster conciliation, harmony, and to prevent violence in communities.
Eternal strength, we will always win, and we will push forward, Mr. President. Count on our community today, December 15th, and on January 10th. Trust that our community will be there, with our justices of peace, to continue fighting for our communities.
Well, today we are choosing our justices of peace, people who are going to represent us in the courts, in the prosecutor's office. Any problem that may arise in our communities, we will go to our justices of peace so that they may help us solve it in the communities. We have chosen honest men and women, who side with the people who are going to help us, and that should remain honest in everything they may do to defend us.
They would solve family conflicts and thus help clear up the courts a little.
The justices of the peace will be a very important figure, representing the law in your community. One would no longer have to go to the prosecutor's office. Now, we will be able to solve the problems within our communities.
This is something unprecedented and very important for our country. Justices of the peace come to fulfill a very important role given the present situation in the country. Why do I say it is important? Because conflicts from any standpoint must be mediated. And the work that justices of the peace will do in Venezuela will be essential to help strengthen community justice.
We'll now take our first short break, but first we invite you to join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The 24th Al Participant Summit was held in Caracas with the presence of heads of states and representatives from all 10 member countries, marking the 20th anniversary for the creation of the Latin American and Caribbean Alliance. As correspondents Garfield Burford and Belén de los Santos have all the details.
Reflections from the historic embrace between Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez, signaling the creation of ALBA in 2004. 20 years on, leaders of the 10 member states gathered in Caracas to celebrate the milestone and chart the course for strengthening the cooperation as geopolitical uncertainties mount. There was strong support for the state of Palestine as Gaza continues to face a humanitarian crisis. Support for the Palestinian people was not just in words, but in deed.
Where it is declared as a permanent guest, with the category of brother country of ALBA TCP as of this summit.
Closer to home, leaders expressed solidarity with Haiti, where gang violence
Hola,
has
Marina,
wreaked a great
saludos.
toll in lives and left many more displaced.
This is one of the big commitments of ALBA today, to support Haiti beyond the beyond our limitations.
Leaders again condemned the embargo on Cuba and the designation of the country as a state sponsor of terrorism. They also condemned unilateral coercive measures against Venezuela and Nicaragua. There was strong support for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who will be inaugurated for a new 6-year term in January. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says President Maduro is the only elected president of the Bolivarian Republic.
That is Nicolas Maduro. And Antigua and Barbuda recognize no other. So no Guaida 2.0 or any other.
And with the United States President-elect Donald Trump set to be inaugurated for his second term in just over a month, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves had this suggestion.
Say, listen, we can live together peacefully as neighbors. We can, but we have to do so with respect for each other.
Leaders closed the landmark summit in Caracas with renewed optimism about an accelerated path towards a multipolar world. Reporting from Caracas, I'm Garfield Burford alongside Belen De Los Santos for teleSUR.
In other news, in Argentina, a country with high poverty rates, Soup Kitchen has organized a special pre-Christmas celebration with a Santa Claus and gifts for children. The celebration was organized by the Soup Kitchen Los Chicos de la Villa, a community space that takes care of families in Sebastián neighborhood in the Zamora Hills town in the outskirts of Buenos Aires. With over 66% of children under the age of 14 living in households with low income, this was the first time ever they got a present. The neoliberal policies implemented by Javier Milei's government have pushed millions of Argentinians into poverty, and thousands depend on soup kitchens to survive.
This is the first time they get a present. I'm excited because I was never able to buy them presents. Next year, I start high school to give them a good future. I will finish my studies and pursue a career.
From an economy standpoint, there are more and more hungry people. You can see it in the streets.
In Bolivia, over 7.3 million citizens are called to the polls this Sunday to elect 26 judges to the country's high courts. The Supreme Electoral Court set up at least 5,597 voting centers throughout the nation, with over 33,000 polling stations. The voting day began at 8 a.m. local time and is expected to end at 4 p.m. Bolivians participate in the process to decide for the new magistrates of the corresponding judicial entities. At the same time, President Luis Arce exercised his right to vote in the city of La Paz, accompanied by some members of the executive cabinet. In El Salvador, how much was paid to the victims of El Mozote massacre perpetrated by the army in 1981, where almost 1,000 people were killed? 43 years later, the victims' relatives continue to demand justice. Survivors and relatives of the 988 people executed, including 558 minors, commemorate the 43rd anniversary of what has been labeled as one of the worst tragedies in the history of Latin America. Representatives of humanitarian organizations from El Mozote and the lawyers of the victims in the criminal proceedings against retired soldiers attended the ceremony.
This anniversary has motivated us and also the communities to maintain the slogan of Justice Now, to demand that this evidence be exposed, so that there may be a debate and ultimately a sentence in this case. It is inadmissible that it's been 43 years of impunity, with the government, the army, and the justice system protecting war criminals.
On Saturday, at least 2 people were killed as fierce winds from Cyclone Chido lashed French Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte. Authorities warn of severe damage. 2 deaths have been confirmed so far in Petite Terre, the smaller of the 2 main islands of Mayotte. The acting transport minister said that Pamansi airport suffered major damage, especially to the control tower. Cyclone Chido is reported to be the most violent and destructive storm in the territory since 1934. On the other hand, acting Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau posted that 140 fresh troops and firefighters will be sent to the scene to help with recovery, doubling the deployment sent earlier in the week.
It is a truly unusual situation. There had not been such a climate event in Mayotte since 1934, which, as the Prime Minister said, included wind, with wind gusts up to 226 kilometers per hour, and then rain. And you know that makeshift homes over there sit on hillsides. And as rainwater ran downhill and the land became unstable, it obviously was a disaster. All makeshift homes have been completely destroyed. And then the third element was that powerful waves in some cases caused coastal flooding. So this climate event was absolutely tragic. The state, the agencies, the ministries are mobilizing.
While visiting the French island of Corsica, Pope Francis expressed his support for the people suffering the consequences of Cyclone Chido in Mayotte.
And we are praying for the victims of the cyclone that has hit the Mayotte archipelago in recent hours. I am spiritually close to all those affected by this tragedy.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Gaza, injured people and dead bodies are being transported to Al-Hali Arab Hospital, also known as the Baptist Hospital, after overnight Israeli strikes targeted the Abu Iskandar area. Gaza Civil Defense Agency reported Sunday that overnight Israeli strikes across the Palestinian territory killed at least 18 people, including 4 displaced individuals who had sought refuge in a tent. In this sense, rescuers worked through the night, recovering the 18 bodies, while dozens more were injured in the ongoing Israeli aggression across Gaza. In addition, another 4 were killed and 8 injured when an Israeli missile struck a tent sheltering dozens of displaced people in Deir al-Balah city in central Gaza.
A large number of martyrs are still under the rubble in a 3-story house belonging to the Al-Aruki family in the Abu Iskandar area. Civil defense crews are still working to retrieve the martyrs from under the rubble, but the crews are unable to do so due to the lack of capabilities available to the civil defense and medical crews.
Meanwhile, this Saturday, thousands of Israelis took to the streets demanding an agreement for the release of hostages held in Gaza. Demonstrators in the city of Jerusalem carried 100 symbolic coffins in front of the residence of the Israeli President Isaac Herzog. In the midst of the demonstration, Israeli police forces arrested 4 people. Negotiations for the exchange of prisoners between the Palestinian Islamic Resistance Movement Hamas and Israel have so far failed due to the systematic blockade by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
It is unthinkable that political considerations are preventing us from reuniting with our loved ones and keeping our hostages from their freedom. The Israeli public wants the hostages home.
In other news, Libya's National Oil Corporation has declared force majeure after Sawiya refinery's reservoirs were seriously damaged as a result of ongoing clashes between armed groups. Situated in the west of the country, the refinery, which is key to Libya's energy needs and economy, processes crude oil from the Sahara oil field, one of the largest of the country, which produces diesel, gasoline, jet fuel, and LPG essential for domestic fuel supply. Normally, the refinery produces over 100,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and the disruption in this refinery is a direct assault to Libya's economy and finances. And on Sunday, Pope Francis arrived in the French island of Corsica for a one-day visit focusing on the Mediterranean. The visit will last 9 hours and will include a 40-minute meeting with the French President Emmanuel Macron. The Pope attended the closing of the event, Popular Religiosity in the Mediterranean, and delivered a speech focusing on migration, regional conflicts, and the climate crisis. This is the first time a Pope visits the island, which Genoa ceded to France in 1768, and which has a strong nationalist movement that seeks independence. The Russian Emergency Ministry reported that 2 fuel-carrying ships are currently sinking off the coast of the Black Sea. The Russian tanker Volgonev 212, carrying over 4 tons of fuel oil, is sinking in the Kerch Strait. Due to a heavy storm, the ship broke in half, the bow was torn off, and the crew was forced to take shelter in the stern. The Ministry of Emergencies reported that a helicopter with rescuers and a rescue tow were dispatched to the scene, saving 13 crew members out of the 14 that were on board. Subsequently, another vessel was damaged in the same area, the Volgonev 239. There are 14 people on board of the vessel, which is also carrying over 4 tons of fuel. The first vessel is reported to have run aground, while the second one is drifting towards the man. Due to the incident, oil products have been spilled in the area. Now we are going to retake the subject of these important elections that are being held in Venezuela. For that, we're going live with our correspondent Gladys Quesada to have all the latest updates. Hello Gladys, welcome.
Hello, Luis. Yes, precisely. The process goes on here in Venezuela. The election of the peace justices this Sunday, December the 15th. And I have to say, this is one of a big date for Venezuela because today the people of this country celebrates the 25th anniversary of the enacting of the current constitution that was, enforced back in 1999. Under the former and late Commander Hugo Chavez government. So Venezuela is not only today conducting a new voting, is also celebrating the 25th anniversary of one of the main achievements of the Bolivarian Revolution and one of the main legislations of the nation, the top legislation actually here in Venezuela. I have to say that so far, according to the electoral authorities, the voting day is going normally, is going also in calm. And here in this voting center, they have counted half of the voters that have came here to exercise their right to vote and cast their vote in this election of peace justices. Also, I have to say that out of the 30,000 peace justices that are going to be chosen today, afterwards, the half will be elected as substitute because the intention is to have enforces or working justices and peace justices, but they will have a backup in any case or in any occasion. Also, I have to say that the idea is that in every communal center like this one that I'm present here and in any communal circuit, there will be 2 justices and 1 main justice. So they will be having, impartial opinions regarding some topics and several conflicts that could come amongst the population. And the idea is to have 3 voices. So one of them is the principal one that will be giving all the final decisions, but he or she will count with the other 2 that also will deliberate the decisions regarding whatever that comes to them in or out of the population with their issues, their problems, and the day-by-day dynamics. Also, I have to say that the Electoral Commission for this moment had a news briefing, press briefing this morning, and Pedro Infante Aparicio, the Vice President of the National Assembly and President of this process, he was stating that it is paramount for people to come and vote and also for them to do so in in a fashion that showcases that they are working towards enhancing the community structure and also that they comprehend the projects they are in. And Pedro Infante was also saying that this process of instructing the population, telling them the importance of this, regarding the logistics of this also, this process has been rolling out for 25 days. So today is the final day of a larger campaign and a long working journey. So those are the main data. As I want to reiterate and to stress, the day is going on normally here in Naiguatá, which is a coastal town, as I was saying, of La Guaira state. Here people are coming to vote, and afterwards they are going to the beach to have recreation and to have a swim, because the beach is so close and they are coming in here with their families. So this is a peaceful day, and as always is accompanied by the neighborhoods, is accompanied by the authorities, but also with music and also with all the joy that always is carried out in a voting day in Venezuela. So far this is the information, Luis. The day is going normally, and it is expected that if there are no more voters, the day will be closing at 4 p.m. Okay, the polls will be closing at 4 p.m. So that's the information. Now I'm giving the signal back to you.
Thank you, Gladys, for the information. We'll stay tuned in upcoming news brief for all the details as this election day continues to move forward in peace in Venezuela. For now, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.